Hey guys, Lorenda here. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. I hope everyone had a very happy new year, and I hope that 2020 brings you nothing but love and joy and happiness. So for today's project, we are going to make this shirt, and we're going to use this using Cricut. However, we're not going to use any stencil for this. This is actually done with fabric dye and freezer paper. It's a really great alternative to doing your shirts, and it's comes out very easy. So if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you'd like to see how we do this shirt, just keep watching. Thanks. All right, guys. So on this video, I did increase the speed on it, and that's why I'm speaking through it this way, because I want to try and make it not quite as long. However, I didn't want to do everything on fast mode because this is something we haven't really done together before, and I just want to make sure that you're getting everything that you need from the video. So this is a really great way to do a stencil. So what we're going to use is freezer paper, and on this one we're going to use fabric dye. And so I have my font already pulled up. This is the Cricut Sans Bold, and then the cursive for the Valentine is Babette from Cricut Access. And, you know, I just measured my shirt and the size for my design like I normally would. However, I'm going to do my stencil on freezer paper. So you're going to cut off your piece of freezer paper, and you want it to be shiny side up. And that's very important that it's shiny side up. And then when you do your cutout, you want to make sure that you mirror your image and then cut it on paper. Now, depending on how intricate of detail you have for your design, I have found that sometimes I have to go to the paper setting and go down one notch for super intricate things. However, for most things, and for this one, the regular paper setting works just fine. And when you are weeding through this, remember that it's a very fragile paper. So, you know, just be gentle, you know, take a few minutes, take your time, and this comes out so beautifully. All right, so you can see everything is being cut out. Now, for this particular project, when I am weeding this, now we want the stencil, so we're only, you know, we're going to take out that inside piece. We're not using that this time. But I go in and I take out all the little extra pieces. So like the O in the mommy, the little piece for the L, the little piece for the A, the little pieces for the E. I take them out first and I set them aside so that I don't lose them. And I just kind of put them in an order so that I know which one's first. And then also I like to set them all up the same way so that I don't get mixed up on which side was my shiny side, because when you iron, you have to be shiny side down, which is why you mirror your image. So I put everything in order and I put all of them shiny side up. That way I know what I have. And then I go through and I like to weed these projects while it's still on the mat and just go in taking out all of the letters. And then when you pull it up off of the mat, just make sure you're very gentle with it. And this is one of those moments that I do use that little kind of scraper tool that's for paper. It helps. All right, so sorry, I know that takes a little bit of time going through and taking out all of these pieces. And fast mode helps, but again, you know, since we haven't really done this before, I didn't want to miss any of the important parts on it. Just please, you know, make sure you remember that when your freezer paper, and it has to be freezer paper, cannot be parchment paper, wax paper, nothing like that. It has to be freezer paper. And remember, you're putting it shiny side up on your mat, and you are going to mirror your image. So while I'm going through weeding this and pulling it up, I'm going to tell you some things you can use this for. So I did a video when I first started the channel. It was a stainless steel tumbler, and I did a freezer paper stencil on it, and then I glittered through it. So you can use this on stainless steel because that's how I did that. I've used this on glass. This is a fantastic method if you like to do etched glass, which I do have a jar that I'm going to be doing for my Valentine's Day centerpiece, and I'm going to do etched glass on it. So I'll be showing this with the etched glass when I do it. But anything that you can actually do heat transfer on, you can use this method. And this is really good for etched glass because you get a really good seal around your letters or your picture or whatever it is that, you know, you're trying to do a stencil for. You have the ability to get just a really, really good seal and keep things from, you know, going underneath it and bleeding. Now, I have also used this on wood with paint. And, of course, all different kinds of material, from tote bags to shirts to you name it. Let's see, wood, steel, glass. I think that's probably all I've tried it on. But again, anything that you can do a heat transfer on, you can use this method, and it really does work nice. So you can see I'm just using my my little tool to get all my pieces up because you don't want it to rip, and this is very fragile paper. And then, you know, cut the excess off around it. This is one of those times you really don't want to have anything extra around that you don't need. It'll just get in the way. Now, when I am doing clothing, I like to use a piece of cardboard. So anytime cardboard comes inside of something, I've told you guys this before, I save all the things. I save any cardboard from inside of things. like this particular cardboard actually came out of IKEA curtains. It was in the center of the fold for the IKEA curtains. Now, on this one, I did stick my heat press, my Cricut heat press mat in there. But honestly, I don't even know why I did. I don't usually. And it really didn't help. It actually caused me to have to iron twice. So I tried it. You know, I just wanted to see how it would look or how it would work, but it really didn't help at all. So I would stick with the cardboard. So the cardboard is really the best way to use for this particular method. All right, so you're going to, you know, kind of figure out where you want your stencil to go. And remember, again, shiny side down. And that's why you did the mirror on it. And the reason why you want shiny side up on your paper is because the wax on the back of freezer paper is enough to actually stick to your garment or your object that you're using it for. However, it comes up with no type of residual whatsoever. Like it comes up completely clean, super easy, but yet it's able to be ironed down really well. And it's that shiny side that can iron down. So if you go shiny side down on your mat, with your mat being sticky, you're going to just mess up your wax paper. Does that make sense? So now when I put this on, I will generally do like a little corner of it so it stays in place. And then I just go in and real easy, just iron all the little pieces down. This is a time that this little mini heat press comes in so handy. I'll tell you honestly, I mean, I'm not any kind of affiliate with Cricut by any means, so I don't get anything for it. However, this little mini heat press is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it works so well on little spots like this. So, you know, I really should do that. I should do the Amazon affiliate and, you know, put some of these items on there. So if you ever see the Amazon affiliate link attached to my site to be able to go on and buy stuff, then you know at that point I would make, I think, what do you get, like somewhere between 1% and 4% of merchandise, something like that. Nothing big. But anyways, okay, so when you're going in and you're doing this, you just really want to make sure that you have all of your little edges down. And you'll notice also, you know, I've talked about this before. I get the iron in my hand and I just really have, I'm terrible. I automatically want to do that ironing motion. Even with this, don't do the ironing motion. You mess it up. Just press it straight down like you would anything else and just do pressure on it. So eventually I will get smart and take this Cricut pad out from underneath my shirt and just go with the piece of cardboard, which is what I should have done from in the first place, but I did want to see how it would work. All right, there we go. So that's easier. And the cardboard is also perfect for when you put your dye on your shirt, it keeps it so that you don't get any bleed through to the back of your garment. I also use this, so this technique is also great when you're doing this on garments. You can use fabric dye, which is what I'm using, just regular black fabric dye. You can use fabric paint. You can also use bleach. So I have done this before. I used a dark colored shirt and I cut out a picture of something that my husband wanted. And then I put it on a gray shirt. And I went in and I had a little spray bottle and I sprayed it with bleach and let it sit, and it bleached out through the stencil, left the other part there. And then once it set long enough, I took and rinsed it in some nice cold water and then took my stencil off, and it came out really, really well. So that's also another super cute thing that you can do. So just make sure all of your edges are down really good. And that's the great thing about this, because it keeps you from having bleed through under your stencil, which happens very often with stencils. I'm just going back through, since I had taken out that mat, and have it on the cardboard, making sure everything is down well. All right, so now that my stencil is placed, I just take the dye, and it doesn't take much at all. Just put a little bit in there. And then I like to use a little pouncer. So this is a pouncer from Martha Stewart. I like these. These are nice little pouncers. I got these at Michael's. They were actually on sale, so I didn't use a coupon because they were on sale for like 60% off. So, and be careful. I was not really paying attention. Fortunately, I didn't go above it, but I wasn't paying attention to where my stencil ended and my shirt began. So I could have easily gone up over top of my stencil and got it on my shirt, which I didn't want to do. So I like to use the pouncer sponge for these. I just sort of lean it off to the side to make sure that I got everything in. And on this shirt, I only did one coat of the dye, and it looks great, but you can do more than that. So my daughter had done one, and we let it dry for about maybe 15 minutes or so, and then we went in and did another coat over it, and it was just super black. It came out really, really well. The one thing though I will say, if you start doing multiple coats, I would use a blow dryer or a heat gun and, just kind of swipe over it with that, because as your freezer paper starts getting a little bit moist, you have an opportunity then to have some run through. So if you're going to do multiple coats, easy to do, no problem. But like I said, just take like a heat gun or a blow dryer and run over it, and it will help. So now we let this dry. We set it to the side and we let it dry for about 30 minutes, and then we come back and take it off. All right, so this set for about 25-30 minutes, no more than 30 minutes. Now, if you notice that my hands look different and you're wondering why, you are correct. That would be my daughter pulling the stencil off. I'm holding the baby and she's taking off the stencil. So as you can see, this comes up really pretty easy. You can see the spaces that are thicker comes off very easy. The ones that are a little bit harder are the ones that have, you know, the smaller words around them, like the cursive, but they still come off really easy. You just, you know, takes a second. And now she chose to use the pick to help her get it off. I usually just use my nail, but this worked well for her. If you're going to do that, though, just be really careful because you don't want to put a hole in your garment. And you can really take your nail and kind of pull up little pieces and it'll come up. So this is her first time. Pulling this off because at this point she just finished doing the shirt she was making and it is drying, so she hadn't pulled it up off of hers yet. And you can see it's a very easy process to pull it up. Again, like I said, the only places you really have to be somewhat gentle is around the cursive, and that's just so that your paper doesn't break in so many pieces that you have to go in and scrape up a bunch of pieces. Now, I will also tell you to make sure you wash your hands because you don't want to get the ink dye all over your hands, and if you do, you don't want to transfer it to your shirt in places that you don't want ink. I'm just taking up all the little pieces. I'm sorry that I'm having you sit through some of these tedious parts, but again, I just didn't want to skip over anything and leave anybody with any questions if they wanted to utilize this method. Oh, you know, the other thing that I did forget to tell you is before you put your freezer paper stencil down, make sure that you iron your shirt so that you don't have any wrinkles in it. Now she's just taking out all the little center pieces. And you can see the freezer paper comes up so nicely. You're not worrying about peeling off residual or anything like that. And look how nice it looks. Well, again, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. Bye.